All right, we welcome Duke representatives to the dais, and we will remind you to please raise your hand when you have a question, and we'll direct the mic holders your way. And we'll also remind you when you have questions for student athletes, please direct the questions to a specific student athlete. It makes things go easier. And we'll begin with a quick statement from Coach McCauley. Coach.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll tell you, I'm really proud of the two women to my right here. It's been a remarkable season in many, many ways, and what they've accomplished together as seniors is just incredible. It's just incredible, and I just don't know if there are too many teams that could face what we faced, the schedule that we faced, and do some of the things that we did. Kalia has, transformed herself into a wonderful point guard, never playing it really, but learning how to play it, and more importantly, a wonderful person who is heart and soul all the way and going to have an incredible future professionally, and I can't wait to hear about it. Elizabeth has been the All-American that she is for our program. She's been a rock. She is truly the embodiment of what a student athlete is all about. Not enough is written about that. I guess it's not sexy enough. Pre-med, great grades, a person who's doing all the right things, and then of course blocking a whole lot of shots and doing other things on the floor. So again, it's been my pleasure to coach these women and to learn from them and to go through so much hardship together with them. I would take them anywhere, and I'd take them in any fight. And so I'm just absolutely so proud of them. And obviously that was a tough game, and we fell short, no question about that. But I think at this time, it's important to talk about how did we get here to begin with? Why are we here? We're not supposed to be here technically, if you look at what happened to our team. But Kalia and Elizabeth and Jenna and Amber kind of made up their minds and guided the team. And for that, I'm very, very grateful. And they sort of showed, they took Duke women's basketball back to a place it needed to go. And where they took Duke women's basketball is to a place of basics and focus and grit. And we're never going to forget the lessons in which that they brought, because those lessons are going to be applied. And they'll be applied in a way that maybe we will have more guards or something, but we're not going to let go of the foundation for what they represent and who they are. And Duke is a special place. Duke women's basketball is so much better because Kalia chose to be a part, as well as Elizabeth. And so we're very, very proud. And that's really the only thing I can talk about right now.
All right, we're joined by Kalia Johnson and Elizabeth Williams, and let's direct questions to those two student athletes.
Jade Evans with the Seattle Times. Elizabeth and both of you, Coach did mention your professional careers. Elizabeth, can you maybe look forward a little bit and maybe the prospects of playing here as a Storm draft pick in Washington? Sorry.
Wow. They want to keep you.
It's kind of hard to look forward right now, but I think, it would be exciting to play here. It's a great state. We've had a great experience here, so I think I've learned a lot throughout my Duke career on and off the court, and hopefully throughout my professional career I can bring some of that and some of the leadership from Kalia and from Coach P as I move forward.
Howie Stolick with the News and Observer, starting with Kalia, but from both of you, how did the game unfold compared to your game plan, what you guys wanted to do? How did you feel about what you did and what Maryland did to offset some of the things you did?
I think Maryland did a terrific job of being the aggressor in the first half, and it kind of set us back a little bit. But once we made up in our mind that we were going to attack and, jam the ball inside like we always do, I think we put them on their heels, and we just needed to keep that going for a full 40, not just 20 minutes. And we've been talking about playing a full 40 all year, and when you don't get the result that you want.
Elizabeth?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I think when they got those threes early, we just didn't adjust very well, and then we finally shut them down, but we just were so inconsistent in the second half. That's what hurt us.
Luke Burns, Herald Sun. How hard is it to put together a complete 40 minutes with your roster as limited as it has been?
Kalia, let's start with you.
I don't think that our roster has anything to do with it. I think every girl has done a great job of being prepared. Like Coach said in her opening statement, we've had plenty of adversity. You know, we've risen every time that we've been thrown something. So I think saying that our roster has something to do with that is a cop-out statement. But I just think that we have to come ready and have in our mind that we're going to play a 40-minute game every game, no matter who's going to play.
Elizabeth?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think everyone just has to bring something. I mean, it can be one thing. It could be taking a charge, blocking a shot. And I think we don't always do a good job of doing that for a whole game. I don't know if it's necessarily our roster size, but, I mean, it's just something we didn't do very well.
All right, we'll dismiss Duke student athletes, and once they've left the dais, we'll direct questions to Coach McCauley. Thank you. Thank you. Questions for Coach?
Joanne Tim Booth with the AP, back over here. You guys made that run early in the second half, got within one. Did you feel like you just needed to get the lead and maybe it could have snowballed from there, or were there other things that Maryland kind of did from then on out that you guys struggled with?
Well, it's a long game. You know, there's just a lot of minutes to a game that you have to play. I thought we fought hard. Obviously, Maryland did some very good things, hit some shots, and, you know, got some transition and things of that nature. We just didn't, you know, we just didn't play a good game of, I mean, to be out-rebounded, we've been out-rebounding everybody all year, and it just wasn't a great game for us. You have to give credit to Maryland. They're a very good team. They have a lot of guards, a lot of guards. We didn't. That was a big problem.
Jack Dolgen, Duke Chronicle. Looking back on the season, what stands out as some of the highlights from making it this far?
You know, there have been many highlights. I mean, look at our schedule. We basically had South Carolina beat and lost on that funny play at the end. You know, you look at all the teams. You know, this team beat Kentucky and Louisville and Oklahoma and North Carolina twice. And I just think that this team's body of work is incredible. And I know Kalia didn't want to make an excuse for the roster, but yeah, we got a roster problem. I mean, injuries to Odera and Lene killed us. I mean, that was brutal. But you know, you know, Becca hitting that big shot, that was pretty funny, you know, for Albany. That was a great game. We played well at Mississippi State, a lot better than we played against Maryland, and that's too bad.
Luke Burns, Herald Sun. You mentioned that, you know, the seniors. Where do you feel like they've left this program as they take their next step?
Well, I think, you know, we're very fortunate to draw so many student athletes at Duke, and I think where they left it was showing the chemistry, the grit, and the intangibles that it takes to be successful. Although we fell short in this tournament, they have a lot of those characteristics, and I think that that's something as a legacy that they can pass down as new players come in. And yes, we have a lot of guards coming in next year and a new team forming and all that. But they sort of pass down the return to grit because they had to be a certain way to have any of the success that they've had this year. And you don't want to lose that. That's what makes it at the highest level. That's what wins championships, you know, at a national level. So they leave quite a legacy. Academically as well, they're great student athletes. So academically and athletically, they really kind of send a message. And I think the younger players get it. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they take it. Becca, for example, Azare, Amber coming back for another year. Kendall, and so forth.
The Diamondback. Where does this Maryland team stack up with some of the teams that you've played this season?
Very similar to a lot of them, the ones I mentioned, in our schedule, the Louisville, Oklahoma, Carolina, Mississippi State. They're just right in that group. I mean, I think in women's basketball, there's a monarchy right now, and one team really can't be beat, and everybody else can beat everybody, and that's how I feel about it.
More questions?
I'm Jack Dolgen, Duke Chronicle. Obviously a tough loss. And I'm asking this open-endedly on purpose, but what would you, if anything, have liked to have done better during the game to get a better result?
Just the whole first half concept of being stronger and tougher, and not. I really thought that we have had shooters before, some incredible shooters. The lack of focus on Mincy was a real problem. I didn't like that. The rebounding. No, we had 2 offensive rebounds at the half. You're trying to get 25 for a game. So the lack of energy, aggressiveness, that's what I would have liked to have seen. I don't know what the result would have been, but I know that would have been how we needed to play.
Sunny Cadwallader, Cadchica Sports and Sporting Nation. The word that comes to mind when I was watching Elizabeth throughout this whole game was just misconsistency. Is that the one word that you would use to describe her entire career, or just growth?
Yeah, I just think she's been incredibly consistent, just like a rock out there, and also, though, so willing to change her game. She's become a lot better ball handler and passer. This year she's had to play more, inside and out. And I think her game is just really actually starting. At the collegiate level with female student athletes, I really think they're just getting started upon graduation. I think that if you look at what Chelsea Gray's doing professionally, or Tricia Liston, they really get going after graduation, just with their age, their maturity, their bodies, everything about it really speaks to later. And I think Elizabeth has an incredible career, because she'll start hitting that high post J more consistently. She'll start playing around with a three-point shot more. She'll have more ability to really train in a way that perhaps she hasn't been able to.
More questions? All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Washington. This regional semifinal game